All right, everyone. Welcome to the unnamed playoff podcast. We're still looking for names, so if you have any, please let us know. But here we'll be covering round two of the playoffs and looking ahead to the quarterfinals. Some of which may have started, but of course we can't have perfect timing in between the rounds to where we can talk about them before the game starts. Anyways, we'll get right. Our first game was the number 3 Mississippi Valley State versus number 19 Indiana State. It ended 21-14 in favor of MVSU. It was a pretty even game. If you look around, like total yards, Indiana State led. Obviously, Indiana State is option, so they only run. Whereas MVSU is a pro team, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and so they're a mix of both. Both teams with one turnover. Indiana State did have about 7 minutes of possession more. 7 minutes of possession compared to, sorry, they had 17 minutes of possession compared to 10 minutes for MVSU. But in the end, Mississippi Valley State was able to score more points, and that is where the game was decided.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana State definitely held on the ball a lot longer, just couldn't quite convert when needed to. And Mississippi Valley State just hold on. All right, move on to the next matchup. Number 5, Cal Poly against number 21, Holy Cross. This was quite a game. Cal Poly does eke this one out 27-24. In a game that was close for both teams. Total yards right on par with each other. Missed field goal for Cal Poly. Holy Cross does get one, but really everything looks like it should have been a Holy Cross win, but Cal Poly just ekes this one out. They had more turnovers, less time possession, even missed a field goal, but Holy Cross just couldn't convert when it needed to, and Cal Poly holds on, moves on to the next round.
Yeah, good for the Cal Poly defense forcing negative 10 pass yards. It looks like Holy Cross may have passed once and then just said nope, as they finished with 338 rush yards, but only 328 total yards. Good win for Cal Poly. I know they have really high expectations going into this playoffs. So after the bye week, to come out strong with a win is good for them and gives them momentum heading into their quarterfinal matchup. The next match we have here is, the CAA's Youngstown State, the number 7 seed, versus the Ivy League Penn, the number 10 seed. And this one was a wire-to-wire victory for Penn. Actually, no, it wasn't. That's cap. Youngstown State took an early 7-0 lead. But then, from then on, it was just all Penn. They scored 21 compared to 0 for Youngstown State in the second quarter. The third quarter, it was 7-7. And then Penn finished it out strong, 14-0 in the fourth quarter, to win by a final score of 42-14. For Youngstown State, this was uncharacteristically poor for the run game. Usually they're around 300, 350 yards throughout the season. This game, they were only held to 230 yards. Also gave up 3 turnovers and had it less time of possession. Again, it was almost 11 minutes compared to Penn's 17 minutes. So for Penn, this is a great momentum boost, beating a top 10 team. Obviously, they are one themselves, but beating a higher ranked team is always good. And now Penn has 2 wins in the playoffs and looks ahead to the quarterfinals, in which they will be playing Montana, which we will talk about later.
Yeah, solid all-around victory for Penn. Limited the mistakes on offense, unlike Youngstown State, and really gave themselves the best chance to win the game, and ended up just kind of dominating Youngstown State. A little uncharacteristic for that defense to give up that many points. Move on to the next game. We had a number 1 Bethune-Cookman going up against number 17 Wofford. While the score might not say it, this was a total domination by Bethune-Cookman easily. 23-9 in their favor, 360 yards on the ground. Didn't really give a shot for Wofford to really do much. Just held them to under 200 yards, so really that defense stepped up big time. Time possession was pretty similar for both teams, and not much really to say. That defense for Bethune-Cookman really just held Wofford to really an uncharacteristic bad game in the air.
Yeah, it's just what you expect from Bethune-Cookman at this point. The stifling defense, forcing a missed PAT. Just great all-around play from Bethune-Cookman, and getting it going on the run game is just what they need to go into the quarterfinals. Their recipe for success here is keep up the run game and keep up the defense. They're just keep doing what they've been doing, um, and you should see them go very, very far in the playoffs. Next game here, we have the CAA champion, Delaware, taking on number 11, New Hampshire. And this, another bad loss for the CAA. More points in this one for sure. It was 50 points for New Hampshire compared to 28 for Delaware. But you see both CAA option teams getting absolutely demolished. It was pretty even in time in terms of time of possession. Delaware had the ball for 14 minutes and 40 seconds. New Hampshire had it for 13 minutes and 20 seconds. But where New Hampshire has Delaware beat is total yards, in which they have 387, just about almost 100 more than Delaware, who had 291. Also won the turnover battle. Delaware gave up one turnover. New Hampshire kept a clean game, and that proved to be the difference. Looking at the box score, Delaware took the lead 14-7 at the end of the first, and then an amazing second quarter for New Hampshire, scoring 28 points to get a 35-21 lead into halftime. Blank third quarter for both teams, each one scoring 0. And then New Hampshire putting 15 on in the fourth quarter compared to Delaware 7. And that's how you get that final score of 28-50. For New Hampshire, the number 11 seed, they will look ahead and try to get this win, taking down the CAA champs. This win is pretty big for them, and pretty big for the coach as well. So we'll see how they do in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, that defense really did not give anything to the Delaware run game, and shut down that Blue Hen magic. We move into the next game. We have number 2 Incarnate Word going against number 18 Montana in definitely an upset here. 28-24 victory in favor of Montana in a game where Montana did not dominate on the offensive side of the ball, and honestly probably gave up a little too much on defense, but that turnover proved to be the difference maker as Montana keeps the ball the entire time, does not give it away, and that time of possession of about 17 and a half minutes, or almost 18 minutes, my bad, really put them over the top and were able to take down this 2-seed Incarnate Word.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of Incarnate Word as a 2 seed. I did think they would be one of the early teams on upset alert. I'm not as surprised as one should be when an 18 seed upsets a 2 seed. But for Montana, a great game. They've had 2 really good games now. And they'll look ahead to the quarterfinals, and they play Penn. And so that'll be a good matchup to watch out for. Next game is the last season's ASUN Championship, now being played in the second round of the playoffs between number 9 Ampersand and number 8 Kennesaw State. And Ampersand took the dub in this one, 42-28. They got outgained in yardage by about 21 yards. It was 328 yards for Kennesaw State, 307 for Ampersand. But they forced 5 turnovers, Ampersand did, compared to only giving up 1, and held the ball for 18 minutes and 24 seconds compared to Kennesaw State's 9 minutes and 36 seconds. Just honestly, I was looking through the game thread for this one, and Ampersand was in Judge's mind the whole game. Kennesaw State only scored 1 touchdown each quarter. Alabama A&M scored 1 touchdown in the first and fourth quarters, and then 2 touchdowns in the second and third quarters. So they will finish with a score of 42-28.
Yep, solid victory for Alabama A&M. You get a tough matchup now, moving up to play Bethune-Cookman. So this is the test, is to see how really true of a team this crew is. Moving to the final game of the second round, you have number 4 Princeton taking on number 13 Campbell in what was a solid game for both teams. Princeton on the ground really did dominate, rushing for 372 yards. But the difference maker for them was they gave up a turnover. Campbell did not. Even with 16 minutes of possession, it just wasn't enough, as Campbell's explosive offense just kind of carried them through a kind of more methodical offense that Princeton had, just couldn't quite convert on every drive, and that's what they needed to do if they're gonna run it down your throat.
Yep. Bad loss for Princeton. I know they were looking ahead and kind of excited to make the quarterfinals, but Campbell stood in their way, and for the Camels, it is a great win. Yeah, being able to score more points with less time possession is always a good thing, because that means your offense is clicking, and your defense is standing strong as well. And they look ahead to number 5 Cal Poly in the quarterfinals. Speaking of which, we will move on right to that. Our previews. I don't know if you want to take this one right off the bat. Our first preview game is number 1 Bethune Cookman versus number 9 Ampersand. Go for it.
That game will definitely be interesting. You're looking at another run-based offense at a BCU, and then Alabama really just a balanced kind of a threat on offense for both teams. This is a rematch of the ASUN championship, I do believe, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And Bethune Cookman did take that one pretty handily, if I do recall. Just see. No, it was a one-score game. I mean, for both teams, this is really. I don't want to say for BC this is where they expect it to be, but at least for Alabama, this is about where they expect it to be. Now it's up to them to really, for both teams, to step up and see if they can take it to the semifinals. I do believe BC will win this game personally. I think they've had their number all year, and they've had everyone's number all year, really. And I don't see them slowing down anytime soon.
I'm going to go against you here. I'm going to predict an Ampersand upset just because I know it's picking numbers, but one of the hardest things to do in any sport is beat the same team twice in like quick succession in a few weeks. So I'm picking Ampersand here. I'm going to say it's going to be really close. I'll say like 28-24. But I do think Ampersand has the strategy to counter BC. Maybe they'll learn a little bit from what Jacksonville State did in their upset game against BCU. So it'll be a good one to watch for sure. It hasn't started yet, but we'll see how things get into it. Moving on to the next game we have on our docket here is number 5. As I move the graphics, I totally forgot to do that. Number 5 Cal Poly versus number 13 Campbell. This one is going to be very interesting. Cal Poly obviously coming off a bye, had a bye week first and then beat Holy Cross. Campbell has played all 3 weeks, or all 2 weeks. I'm really struggling here. They've played all 2 weeks, and now they go into this game with Cal Poly. As I may be a little biased here when I say this, but I do think Cal Poly is going to win, and I do think it'll be a big blowout. I think Campbell has ran out their luck after beating Princeton, and I think that Cal Poly will take advantage of this win, or take advantage of the win that they had against Holy Cross, take that momentum into this game, and pull off a win. I'm going to say score of 38-35. That's my final prediction.
That's a pretty solid. I'm probably going to lead towards Campbell. I think that they're going on a run here. They look like they finally found their rhythm they needed late in the season, and I really don't want to pick against them now. This kind of run they're going on has been pretty solid. So yeah, I'm gonna go Campbell. 38-24 maybe.
I know we got slow here. I don't know if you want to chime in on anything that we had talked about, anything that we've talked about in the past, like second round, or anything about further games. I don't even know if he can hear us, but
I think he's definitely new.
yeah, he's deafened. All right, I'll just keep chugging along.
Do we want to just briefly touch on the other two games? I know they have.
Yeah, we can give. I mean, I'll talk about MVSU because I predicted before the game. I thought MVSU would blow this one out, just because New Hampshire, even though they have been good and they did beat the number 6 seed CA champion, I thought this would be a handling by MVSU, and I thought they would do a lot better than what the final score said. I don't know if you want to add to that or not.
Yeah. I mean, MVSU played a pretty solid game. Did fumble the ball. That probably killed them. Again, these option teams, these run heavy teams, the last thing you need. in order to succeed is a fumble or an interception in case you for some reason want to throw it. So that's a tough one for them. I think they had expected to at least make the semifinal, maybe maybe the national championship this year. After that strong regular season, but it wasn't meant to be. And New
Yeah,
Hampshire
we'll
pulled.
go more in depth in that one in our next one after all these games finish. But yeah, as many of you know, MVSU did lose to New Hampshire, and following that, we had a Penn win against Montana. Probably what I expected out of this game. Nothing much that differed from what I was predicting. Montana has played extremely well all season, and we'll see where Wazup goes. I don't know if he's retiring or if he's just changing schools, or if he's staying at Montana. I don't really know much about it. But yeah, I'll keep my analysis of that game until after.
I'll give a brief touch at both. Both teams played a really good game. It just looks like Penn really converted on every drive when it needed to, as opposed to Montana not always converting, and it just ended up in a loss for them.
That's all we have. I know Slow joined us late here. Do you have anything you want to predict? Anything you want to say about second round games? Don't even know if you can hear us, but there we go.
Yeah. I was fighting it for like 5 minutes because I forgot I messed with volume settings. But from what I've seen so far in the second round, I think there's been a couple more upsets, which is a little bit surprising. If I remember correctly. Yeah. With New Hampshire. No, that's third round. Alabama A&M, lower seed, taking out Kennesaw State. Same with Campbell, Montana, New Hampshire. Penn, like it's just a bunch of lower seeds, which is not too surprising because it's a little bit of a luck-based game, so it's not like all the higher seeds were overwhelming favorites. But it's surprising to see just how many lower seeds were able to move on. That's you guys already touched all the games. That's about all. It's just interesting that we got many of the lower seeds moving on.
I will touch up on the NIT because that did finish. We were in the middle of the first round on the last podcast. Idaho did survive Nicholls State, and they would move on to play Elon. Another game that we missed, Abilene Christian did take down UT Martin and moved on to play Florida A&M. And Bucknell upset Bryant, moving on to play Jacksonville State. And then the second round has started. We have a couple games pretty deep. First one, 16 Elon taking on number 8 Idaho. Elon actually pulls the upset, 40-31 in a back and forth game. Both teams had over 400 yards on offense. It was a pretty solid game, both with one turnover, time of possession basically even. But in the end, it does go to Elon 40-31. The next game would have been Florida A&M going up against Abilene Christian. That game is still in the first quarter. It's a 28-7 lead right now, Florida A&M. They have converted basically every time they've gotten the ball. So it will be interesting to see if Abilene Christian can bring that one back, but I don't have my hopes up for that one.
There have been no sustained drives by either team.
Yeah, it's what it's looking like. A bunch of return touchdowns.
It's all been big play.
Yeah. The next game is number 15 Bucknell against number 7 Jacksonville State. That game is in the fourth quarter, down to the final 3 minutes, and Jacksonville State has an 8-point lead. From the looks of it, the ball is Jacksonville State's right now, so it might be over for Bucknell if Jacksonville State does convert on this drive. But it's been a really good game for Jacksonville State, so I expect them to kind of hold on and move on into the semifinals. And then the last game on the docket is going to be number 13 Prairie View A&M going against number 12 Maine. And Prairie View A&M is up 28-14 deep into the second quarter. Maine just starting to get its offense going in the second quarter. It looked like it was a pretty hard first half for that team. But Prairie View A&M has been playing really well through and through. It's a 2-score game, so still got two more quarters to go. So it'll be interesting to see if Maine can bring that one back or if it's going to be the end of their season.
I haven't been following the NIT as much, but talk about Elon, the 16 seed with a dream, taking down the number 1 seed in the first game, and now taking down the number 8 seed in the second game. Am I mistaken if I say I think top 6 seeds are all gone, or is it all like the top 8 seeds are all gone?
In the NIT,
In the NIT, yeah.
we have 3 and 6 going against each other. So the winner of that,
So the winner of that. Okay.
and then the highest seed after that is the 7 seed of Jacksonville State.
Nice. Okay, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 4, 5 are all gone.
Yep.
Makes sense. I think that's all we have. I mean, I can talk about my tournament, but it isn't official. We did have Towson winning my directional dispute. They played me in the final, and it was down to the wire. They won 38-35 in the end. We've got a few games going on the consolation side of things to finish out the official spread, like the official timing, not timing, official scores and everything. But the West number 1 seed Towson did take down Midwest to prove their dominance in my directional dispute. And I think that's all we have for today. So thank you guys if you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in live. So that's all we have for our name pending playoff podcast, and we will see you guys at the conclusion of the quarterfinals. Peace out.